All right, hello everyone. My name is Aladdin Spears, and I am the creator of this working documentary. And the title of this documentary, or the working title, is Bubble. And basically, what a bubble means to me, it means like restriction, and just like the movie Bubble Boy. He was in this bubble, and it was like real contained. And I just wanted to just do a documentary because I was actually inspired by a friend because I don't want to tell his story too much, but he was like in this white space and he just didn't really feel included and I don't know, it's just like it's just more of like inclusion. And like even when it comes to the dating like apps, I don't feel like I get attention, but I don't get a lot of attention. And I walk into a lot of spaces, people are looking, but I mean they won't I don't feel like I'm good enough. And I just wanted to just see where like this documentary would go and see if there's people who face similar experiences, to see like that I'm not just like this crazy like hostile bitter person. And yeah, before I like get too far into the documentary, I just want to just see where it goes and where it takes us. So I'll be giving you like my speeches, my feedback, and we'll see. What has been your experience dating in Ann Arbor?
In Ann Arbor, dating has been, I wouldn't say that it's been kind of iffy. It's more so getting to know people. I haven't dated anybody in Ann Arbor.
So I take it as you're not in a relationship.
Correct.
Well, Detroit, Michigan, my dating experience has been very limited. I wouldn't say I have a type, but I have a preference about personalities. And so a lot of people are just so much into sexual conversations instead of the intimate conversation about your life. So dating here has been kind of rough because I found a few good men, but I've also been cheated on by those men. And that's with dudes I've met online and offline as well. It's just, I'm not going to say that you cannot find the right one, because I've found people who actually have a great relationship, but for myself it's a little bit different for me because of who I am and what I stand for.
Dating in Detroit was pretty adolescence for me because I pretty much was just like high school. And once I got out of high school, I went straight to Alabama, and then I moved to Chicago. I didn't get back to Detroit till about 25. So in that case, dating Detroit would have been almost a joke.
And why almost a joke?
Because at that time I was so young. I didn't know a lot of things that was going on. And when I came out, it was pretty much like I was told that like you have to be a bottom. So I was kind of like moving in a way that I thought I should have been, because it was a box that I needed to be in, when really I just had to discover myself.
And what do you mean by a box you can be in? Like, what does that mean?
Like the whole top bottom verse type of thing. Like somebody literally told me the first guy I actually dated in Detroit, he told me like, oh yeah, you're a bottom. And I just thought that like it was a class that I could only be in. I didn't know that I could be top, bottom, verse, or whatever I wanted to be.
It's been rough. I feel like, to describe it in one word, I would say kind of like I feel invisible out here sometimes. Just, I don't know, it's easy to make friends and easy to meet people, but then dating is a whole nother challenge.
Dating in Ann Arbor, they've been, some you get looks and stuff, but it's Ann Arbor. So it's been cool. I haven't had any issues.
So your dating experience has been good, I take it?
It's been pretty good. Dating in Ann Arbor. Yeah.
Ooh, so it's definitely difficult, because I feel like in Metro Detroit people aren't very much into the dating scene. They more so want to hook up and things like that. But it's like, if you're not the cookie cutter, hot bod, or whatever, you're not, people overlook you. So, but now we move. So.
And where did you move? So if you don't mind me asking.
Oh yeah, so I just moved to Ypsilanti. It's nice. I love it. Hopefully, this means bigger, better things are coming.
Yes.
Oh, I'd say my experiences dating in Detroit, Michigan have been a fool. I can't say I actually ever dated. I mean, I've had situations, but I've never actually dated or had the privilege to be taken somewhere. I mean, I have, but it wasn't like for a long term thing. It was just for that right now moment.
Ron,
I feel like a lot of people knows a lot of people in the dating scene in Ann Arbor, especially the gay dating scene, and everyone has almost dated everybody in some type of way or messed around with somebody. So that's my opinion.
I don't think there is one. Like, we're all on apps. We don't go, we don't go out to the movies and eat and stuff like that. Like, people get on the app, hook up, and then you don't talk to each other again, type thing. It's very toxic and it sucks. But
The dating scene in Detroit is very showbox. Detroit is unique because we're innovators here, and a lot of the people in Detroit belong to certain cliques. Is so childish to say, but like certain areas. And so in the gay scene in Detroit, everything is elite. You have to be popping, you have to be fashionable, you have to be this, you have to be that, you have to be everything that they want on cover girl. You're not supposed to be yourself. And so a lot of the relationships is really based upon who do I look good with, or how do we look as a couple. If we were on social media, how will people look at these pictures of us? Can we get these cute pictures? And it's very rare that you meet people who are actually genuinely in love with each other and attracted to each other. And those are because the people that are like that, they're like not out there. They're like off doing their own thing, walking up and down the riverfront somewhere. Like, they're not at the club. The girls at the club is trying to stunt. And however that's gonna help they stunt, that's the way they move it.
what are your experience dating in Michigan?
In Michigan, dating seems to always be they're focused on sex first, and they expect that things will fall in place if the interest is there, but that seems kind of like more superficial to me.
Experiences dating in Michigan is pretty much, it almost reminds me of like being in a fishbowl, because like you're on display, yet it's so small. Everybody knows each other, and it's just like a small community. But at the same time, our community is so like diverse, but at the same time we are a different breed. So it's kind of difficult because everybody is so strong-minded from Detroit.
And when you say our community, and start cutting you off, what do you mean by our community?
The Black urban community.
That the people out like in Ann Arbor are like a little bit different demographically than the people outside of Ann Arbor, just in terms of like age and profession and things like that. Because in Ann Arbor, we're a college town, so there's lots of people coming in and out, like lots of students, grad students who are from other places. Where kind of once you go outside of that, I think in Michigan,
It's kind of like more real world, basically.
yeah.
And that kind of makes sense. I'm happy you kind of brought that up because, like, I never looked at it until just now. Like, Ann Arbor is a college town, and people are going in and out and fluctuating. So,
Right.
I mean, dating can probably kind of be a challenge with, like, getting used to someone, especially like friendships, because people are moving in and out. So It's kind of hard
Exactly.
for that stability and for people to take people serious. So, okay, I'm happy you brought that up.
And I want to say there is definitely like cliques among the gays. So yeah, in Michigan.
So you're, once again, like, your dating experiences in Michigan, so it's easy for you to go on a date. It's easy. So guys genuinely ask you out on a date
Yeah,
without a problem.
without a problem.
Yes. Okay, look at you.
kind of hit or miss. I feel like, again, dating itself is very kind of scarce, but I feel like people are very cliquey. I get a lot of or not cliquey, that's not the word I want to use. Very close-minded. We'll use that word. But it's always if you're not, no fats, no femmes, no Asians, that type of deal. And as a, Black person, I'm often overlooked, or I'm either overlooked or I'm fetishized. Fetishized.
We understand.
Yes. So it's you know, it's like they want me because I'm black, and that's the only thing. Like, they just want, you know, that sort of thing. And I feel like it's belittling, because now you're not even, you know, paying attention to who I am as a person anymore. It's just this black person, and this is what I want.
Bitch, I'm not dating in Detroit, so what the fuck make you think I'm dating in Michigan? Shit. I have none.
And what are your experience on dating while being a black female?
Well, I would like to say that most of my dating was before I went through my transition. And when I was dating as a male, it's not really any difference than dating as trans. Most men are sexual driven first, and then, but what I have noticed the difference is that men are more, I guess, the word that I'm looking for, they're, I don't know, their manners, they show their manners more. Like, they want to open the door for you. They want to, you know, just be more considerate of you. Like, they want to pay for the dates and things like that.
So this is as a trans female.
As a trans female, that's more what I get now, as opposed to when it was just being a male dating.
And this was from via like most like black guys and white guys, like both genres. Like, you feel like you're treated better as like a trans female.
Yes,
Color.
overall, yes.
What are your experiences dating while black? Like, what does that mean to you, dating while black in Michigan?
Well, great question. Dating while black, it's hard because, for one, they want you to be this specific person. And there's this stereotype
And what
about
is the they, if you don't mind?
different cultures. I am, as we spoke before, I've been raised in Florida as well. So it's like Florida it's like a melting pot. And then also seeing the opportunities that's out there in Canada and other places, it's like the dating it's a different spectrum. They're more culture influenced by different people versus just their own culture. Here in Michigan, it's harder to get someone outside of my race to find me attractive, or more, I want to say, instead of sexually attractive, they don't find me intellectually attractive because they don't get the time to get to know me.
Dating while black is so important because, first of all, at this time we're in such a crucial state when it comes to the black community and everything that's going on in the system and the government, social media, just everything. So dating while black is about just being original, not having that toxic black masculinity that we was taught. We was taught like to be like a black guy has to be a certain type of way. So a lot of people that I know, even gay or straight, black men are not truly being themselves.
That is a hard one. I think there's already like a thing where people have some type of preconceived notion about you based on the color of your skin when dating, and so it makes it hard to, like, especially if you're doing interracial dating. With Ann Arbor being the way it is, like, most of your options for dating are going to be white guys, for one reason or another. And so when, like, interracial dating, someone non-black, I'll say, they're just, like, things that you have to, I'm going to say look out for. But it's hard to trust people originally because you don't really know what their intentions are with you and with dating you. So you don't want to open yourself up too close just to be disappointed later and, like, what happened with their intentions.
Dating while black, I think you have to present yourself a certain way due to the fact that I am a black male, and when people see me, you know, they already have a, you know, statistic about me. So I want to break those stereotypes and stuff like that. So, and you know, I just don't want to come off as the typical black person.
So I feel like we as black people don't I hate to say it like this, but we don't really know how to date. Like, it's very much into, well, especially, well, black and gay, you know. I feel like we're very much into, you know, you want to hook up, and then after, you know, it's like, if you're not that kind of black, you know what I mean? You're kind of like, you're the taboo. You're the you know, like, I can't think of the word, guilty pleasure. Like, you don't want to tell anybody about me, but, you know, every so often, that type of thing. It's
So is this from like the other race, or is this like black on black? You mean that you said that?
To be
black.
honest, it is more so with black people, because I feel like, you know, when I get into, like, especially now that I'm at IPSY, and, you know, now I've been doing, you know, performances and stuff in IPSY, it's like, I feel like, you know, not just white people, but like white people, you know, other cultures are more, almost a little more accepting, to be honest. Like, I feel like I get more, you know, people are more interested, but then it's still more so just a hookup. Like, they're interested, like, I feel like I'm the monkey dancing type thing. You know what I mean? Like you like me to entertain, but it's like you don't want to hear me speak. Like, you don't want to, you know, as long as I can dribble a ball, you know, as long as I can sing, as long as I can, you know, do these things, I'm valid.
So you feel like Beyonce and Shaquille O'Neal, like entertainment-wise,
You know,
that's the T, but otherwise, you know, you don't want to really hear me vocalize. You don't want to know the person.
Yeah.
So exterior.
You know.
Oh, okay. Well, it depends on what you mean by dating. Because let me just reintroduce myself. Okay, I'm from the west side of Detroit, and we all know what dates can mean. But, like, in an authentic situation where it's like me and this nigga, no, I don't have much experience with that. It's mostly been like DL men who date me very close or like closed. It's not an open thing. And the guys that I have dated, that hasn't been since a bitch was in college. Okay, I'm a whole ass bitch now. It ain't the same.
How do you feel about dating in white spaces?
I don't have a problem with dating in white spaces. I'm open to different races. I'm open to different spaces. I really just want to meet someone who can respect me and not want to pressure me to make me think that we have to have sex to see if we are a good match or not.
That's where it comes back to when I say different cultures. I actually want to date outside my culture. I appreciate getting to know things about other cultures. Speaking of dating, white places also include other races as well, as far as Arabics and Albanians and things in that nature, or people in that nature, excuse me. So as far as dating like Muslims and other cultures, it's more about sex to them instead of actually building something. I'm not sure if they think of me as a prop or just a sex object, but as far as intellectual conversation, it's very dead.
Yeah, pretty much when it comes to dating in a white space, I don't have that much experience in that field or that area, should I say. It's more so like, of course, I've had sex with other races, but it never got to the point where it presented itself to be something serious that I would go into.
Yes.
But I'm open to it.
Yes.
So dating in white spaces is one of those things that's really tough. Mainly because, like I said, you don't really know people's full intentions and how aware they are of social issues and how aware they are of your life and your experiences based on the color of your skin. And so that is one thing that makes it really hard. And then another thing, I think, is just the fact that, to me, it feels like sometimes you can be shut out of like the narrative in terms of dating. And so a lot of that, because I'm friends with people, like, I get to see the inside of it, but I don't necessarily get to participate in it. And so that's such a struggle. It was way more of a struggle for me when I was younger, but as I'm older, I kind of know that, like, yeah, that's just not my world. I just don't really have a place in that world, so it's not something to be defeated by, but just that.
I really don't feel any type of way. I mean, I feel like I guess fit in, so I don't feel like I stand out. I mean, there's some things, like, especially like when we're having discussions about certain topics, like, yeah, my view is going to be different than the next person's because of my experience of growing up and being Black.
So why do you feel that you fit in?
Because I'm very sociable, and I don't think I come off, pretty easy to talk to. So therefore, I mean, it's just conversation at the end of the day.
So, I've dated, a few, other like white people and stuff like that. But I feel like it's most of the ones that I meet that are interested in me are just interested in me because I'm Black. And I don't feel seen. I feel like, you see my skin but you don't see my face type thing, and it's, I get that a lot. Or I'll get the ones that want me to be the spokesperson for Black people. And I'm like, I don't want to be that either. I don't want to, I don't want to speak for everyone. I don't want to be that person, I just want to be seen for me, and I feel like I don't get that often in those spaces. It's either one or the other. It's very polarized.
It's not really an option for me. Not in the sense of like going out, but in the sense of like white men. Like I'm not attracted to white men. Not to say that I never will be, but ain't no white man came up and tried to sweep this up off the ground. And the ones that do, it's very fetishy. I don't like it. I don't fuck with it. So I don't get into it.
What does dating mean to you?
Dating to me means that you are taking out the time to actually get to know a person personally, to deepen a relationship with them.
Courtship. I really want someone to court me. I feel like dating is just not about sex anymore. It's more so about intimacy as far as conversation and get to know one another. And dating does not necessarily have to be outside of the field as far as like restaurants. It could be at home, but when you be at home, most people think that's more intimacy as far as sex, but it does not have to necessarily be sex, but conversation is more intimate than sex.
Yes, and you mentioned courtship. Like, what is courtship?
That's like whining and dining, paying attention to who I am. I do appreciate my doors being opened, even though all men do not know about that because how they were raised. But every now and then I do like someone to wine and dine me and take me out. Maybe it's a dinner, a date, or a movie.
Have you ever been with a white male?
I've been with a couple.
Sexually dating?
Sexually and dating.
Sexually, yes. Relationship-wise, it's awkward to talk about it just because I tried it twice. The first time it was a guy, he was so strung out on drugs, I don't even think he knew that we were dating. The second guy, I met him off of Tinder, and we were just conversing. We had 2-3 dates, and he got upset at me for keeping my app. So it's like, we're not exclusive yet, but according to him, we were. So it's like that kind of plummeted our relationship. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, of course.
And how was that experience?
It's an experience. It's, everybody is different. Like I don't really get hung up on color. I'm like more so like everybody is a human being. We all bleed the same. So I kind of go off what you give me. So if if my intuition is telling me, it's a good vibe and I'm following the vibes and you're, presenting yourself in a certain manner to the point where I do want to continue to be around, and I will also enjoy it.
Yes, primarily. In terms of like long-term relationships, it's been primarily white males. But with that being said, most of those white males have not been from the scene, if you will. I don't think I have dated anyone from Ann Arbor. And for the most part, they have been guys who were like bisexual or something like that, who don't have the same experience with like the scene and the preconceived notions that come with all of that. So my experience has been a little bit different, I think.
I've been with a white man, but I haven't been with a white man.
Bubble. What is a bubble? I mean, the first thing you hear.
A bubble to me is specific.
What does a bubble mean to you, like in the dating aspect?
Dating wise, I would say the area maybe that you live in or the area that you venture out into in the dating scene.
Confined. How can I explain this? Loss of breath. Just not able to actually venture off and do what you want to do.
So restricted, like you said, confined.
A bubble. The first thing that came to mind when I think of a bubble would be a category that you can't really get out of, and it's hard to break out of. But once you get out that bubble,
I would say that to me, a bubble would mean something that is, thriving and active and building just inside of a certain space where it doesn't pay any attention to what's going on outside of that space. It's not really affected by that. And that's sometimes willing, sometimes unwilling.
Bubble means a safe place. So like, this is my space. This is my comfort zone. This is like where I reside, and I can, do what I want. It's my bubble.
Bubble. It's something that a bubble is your little space. It's your little sanctioned off area, and I feel like I started going off on a tangent. But yeah, I feel like it's your own little space, your little bubble, but I feel like it's secluded from everything else.
A bubble is like free because once you blow it, that bitch goes where she wants, okay? But she's enclosed, she's fragile, she goes as high as she can. It's meant to appeal to people, like people want to see her, people want to see if they gonna pop, if it's gonna go up, down, you know what I'm saying? But she there, and you gonna pay attention.
We asked this question earlier, but what does a bubble mean to you?
A bubble is a limited space. I would say that it's a central area.
I enjoy it, and I commend those who have the opportunity to do so, just because it opens the opportunity for people to actually embrace another culture besides their own and spread the word to let people know that stereotypes are not always what's there,
I'm very open when it comes to interracial dating, because like I said, we are at such a crucial time, and we came so far from like the times of slavery and just injustice and everything. Well, we're still kind of in injustice, but slavery and racism. So interracial dating is beautiful to me, and I feel like it's trash to judge anybody for their own mental capacity just because you can't see that.
I think that it's really, really hard. I think, and that hardship definitely comes at the terms of the more marginalized person in the relationship. They have more to lose in terms of, I don't want to say more to lose, but more to look out for, more to consider when it comes to interracial dating. Because like I said, you don't ever really know if people's intentions are pure, and if they want the best for you, or if they just want to be with you for other reasons.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it as long as, it's not like you're not doing it just because it's interracial. Like, don't be that people. Don't be those people. That's not. No.
So interracial dating means a lot because people oftentimes refer to interracial dating as black and white. Interracial dating goes beyond that. So that's a black person being with a white person or being with any other person, like a POC, a person of color. That gets into like your Latinx folks, that get into your like indigenous people, so your Asian folks. So that get into like a different category. So I'm into that. However, me being where I'm at and who I am and like what I know because I've been in these streets, Interracial dating, to me, it always winds up being some form of a fetishy thing. I don't meet too many genuine white men who are actually attracted to me.
What's the longest relationship you've ever been in?
The longest relationship was my most recent relationship. We were together almost 5 years.
That's amazing. And is this person a person of color? Is this person like how would you describe this person?
Yeah, he is an African American male. He's not mixed or anything.
The longest relationship I was in was about 2 years.
And that was with a person of color, or
He was white.
yes.
And that was my first long-term relationship, actually.
The longest relationship I've been in was 3 years.
Not the long. I'll say about 6 months.
The longest like
The
full-fledged
longest.
relationship.
Cause I cut people off too quick. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
It's nothing wrong with that.
I know, where I'm at. I'm not gonna argue and all those other type of stuff. I'm like, I'm just gonna go. I'm good.
Ooh, now that's a messy ass question because technically I'm not in a relationship, but I have a situationship. We are both understanding that we're friends, but that stemmed from a relationship that we tried to have. And that's what I meant when I said back in college, because it stems from that. So it's a long time. So we're friends, but
So that does answer the question. So
the longest relationship I've been in was about 3 years.
like committed.
Yes, I was committed.
What dating apps do you tend to favor and why?
So if I was to favor a dating app, it would be Tinder. And the reason why is because it's a hit and miss. Versus other apps that's all about sex. With Tinder, you can find someone who actually wants to hold a conversation with you, besides just trying to fuck you. Most of the other apps are just people who are trying to have sex. So me personally, of course, sex is amazing if you know what you're doing, but conversation is way better.
I'm only really knowledgeable on Jack'd and Grindr. I'm sorry, Jack'd and Adam for Adam. I really don't know much about Grindr, so if I would choose, I would say Jack'd because I'm most comfortable with it, and as well as like I said, that's where my community is.
Probably Jack. I am. I'm on pretty much all of them. I'm not gonna hold you up.
I love Jacked. Recently, I've never had an actual hookup off Jacked. I've hooked up with people who have Jacks, but we were hooking up off of a different situation. But I've never actually had a hookup off Jacks. But I love the fact that it gives me the type of niggas I want. Sometimes she want that little thug poet nigga that's gonna try to talk to you. Sometimes she want the little DL thug around the corner that's just trying to come bang you out real quick in the backseat. You know what we want. So Jack, give it to me, boy.
Next question. Do you feel dating apps are marketed towards Black people of color?
The ones that are driven for the LGBTQ community, I feel like it is. And if it isn't, I feel like it kind of causes those people who do get in those dating apps to be still driven in that type of environment.
So you definitely feel like sites like Grindr, you get a lot of attention on sites like Grindr and Tinder.
I do. I get a lot of attention on those sites. I think that it exposes people to different, interracial dating. So I believe that it's helpful in that sense, but I do feel like it's more so targeted towards the Black community because they don't really know how to meet others in public.
And why is that, you think?
From when I would say when I was 18, when I first started exploring the gay community or just exploring dating, there's really nowhere that you can find out about people like you and meet and date. And the apps are the easiest way to meet people for whatever purposes that's specific to your sexuality?
Actually, that's a great question. So I had a conversation. I've been on this app with just some friends. It's this app called Bigo, and so it's like random people. I found out that it's actually used for dating as well, but I just use it for social networking. And we had a conversation about dating apps, about how Grindr. Well, somebody just brought it up themselves. How Grindr was tailored towards the more high class, and Jacked was tailored towards the hood rats. And I felt that offensive because before they said that Grindr was more tailored towards the white and the others. You can take that how you want. And then Jacked is just tailored towards black men. And me personally, I've never really been a fan of Grindr. Just because, like you said, they're high class, so they already look at me as less of them when I have more credentials than most of them. So yeah.
When it comes to dating apps, if I feel that they're targeted towards people of color, I'm kind of indifferent on that. I want to say no, but at the same time, I don't feel like that there is a motive for a particular, ethnicity. Yeah, I find the apps, they're useful because I will say at the end of the day, like most of my realest relationships, most serious relationships came from Jack. Jack, because I really don't really get on the other ones. To answer your question of as far as like Grindr and Jack, if they're like aimed at a certain demographic, I would say the people did that. I don't think that the actual app, presented that. Just more so like communities flock to where they go.
And you spoke about Jack earlier. Like Jack, would you say like how would you describe the app Jack?
It's a pool of gay males that I would say mostly 9 out of 10 use it for sex. But it is a social app where you can meet guys. But I do feel like that Jack is very important in all of the social media apps because a lot of people is like socially awkward or don't know how to approach people. So that makes it a lot easier to actually get yourself out there. So it's kind of like 50-50.
And I heard Jack, a lot of people refer to as like the black app of all the apps.
Definitely.
And could you and why do you think that became why do you think that's adopted that name, like the black app?
I would want to say just pretty much as far as just like the black gays before us, because there was BGC, there was other little apps that came out, but we always heard about was Jacked. And then like of course like the other apps was like advertised on TV and the internet, but we didn't know to go on there. So once we downloaded the app, like, oh, okay, this is another Jacked, you go on there and then you see the demographic that is different. But I don't think that it was aimed for like from the actual people who created the apps. I feel like it was just like the environment and the community.
I would say that I don't think they're not marketed to black people, but I think that they don't use them as much, just because I think within the black community, the opinions about like homosexuality aren't the same as opinions outside of the black community. So I think that a lot of times with like things like TL guys or things like that, they're not interested in being marketed to because they're not interested in being known about. So I feel like because there's this air of secrecy, that it makes it harder for them to want to use apps. I think that is why they're not really part of the equation for the people who are creating the apps.
No, I had never been on a dating app before, so I wouldn't know.
So like no Tinder,
no Tinder, no nothing, no nada.
I do, especially like, I feel like we have some. Like, I feel like Jacked is it's like the Grindr for black people, But yeah, we have a couple of those like that.
If you want to get into marketing, first of all, let's get into the dating apps because the ones that are most popular is Jacked, Grindr, Grindr DNR, You know, I don't
Grindr
know.
who?
Grinder DNR, bitch. Oh, you a young gully because Grinder DNR was out back then, okay? But those are the popping ones. You got Growler, shit like that, Moco Space, because I know some of them hoes be on that. But those apps are definitely geared toward like gay people, like gay black men, because most of those apps pop in the urban areas. However, it's geared toward them, but the people that use those apps are the ones that are not like seeking what we're seeking, aside from just a sexual hookup. So even then, it doesn't get into dating.
So these dating apps are marketed towards black people, fellas.
Yes.
Okay. Next question. What traits do you look for in a guy?
When I meet a guy, I look to see if he knows what he wants, as far as us getting to know each other. Like, I like to see where his head is, sexually, mentally, you know, goals, career-wise. See if he's like, try to see if he's an honest person. It's gonna be upfront. A lot of people are like, they don't like to be honest. So I look for honesty and yes, I would say those are the most important ones for me.
Okay. So when it comes to guys that I like, the traits that I look for is individuality, confidence, and I love a sense of style. Those are pretty much the same, the main three things that really stands out to me.
Oh my goodness, I need somebody who's very consciously awake and understanding that there is truly a plague amongst black femmes, black trans women, and black GNC folks. And so understanding that what my problems are, what my needs are at the forefront, period. Also, I want a man that's comfortable in himself. You know, that doesn't necessarily have to be masculine, but I want somebody that's going to be cool to walk with me through like the mall and not try to step before me or behind me. Be comfortable enough to go out with me and make me feel like I appreciate it. Like, you know, like make me feel like I'm going to make them feel. I want to feel like the person I'm what I can trust.
So what does fetish mean to you?
I would say fetish has actually evolved to be more than what it simply was in the beginning. It's to me, I know that it's supposed to be like a sexual interest or arousal toward like an object or a thing or something that you probably tangibly cannot feel. Or sometimes, yeah, you can whatever. But I think people have changed that and they have attached that to actual people. You know, like feet and hands and all that kind of stuff. Like it's evolved to be deeper than what it really originally was.
Yes.
Even gender specific people, like trans people, like people have a fetish just for actual trans female or trans male or.
And can you elaborate on that, please? Like, do you feel like as a trans woman, you've been more, you know, fetishized more than when you were?
Yes, I feel as being trans, for sure, has made me more of like a sexual objectification. Like people desire me because of their sexual fantasies or their sexual like fetishes or objections and things.
And as a trans woman of color, like, what does that fetish means to you? Like, I mean, have you been like fetishized, you know, in that regard, or do you just like, you know, trans women of all, you know?
I believe trans women of all colors, because I believe that the person that we are have sexualized us.
Pleasing yourself. Fetish is something you have a desire for, something you feel like no one else should be able to participate with you but that intimate person or someone you desire.
So have you ever fetishized a guy, or have a guy ever fetishized you?
I would say yes. I am actually most guys' fantasy and their fetish, and I don't find that attractive at all. But most guys tell me I'm that exception. Bisexual or straight, quote unquote, men tell me I'm their exception, and that's actually offensive to me. because they think that I want to be a trans woman or I want to be a woman, and I'm comfortable with being a beautiful man. I'm comfortable with being androgynous, so it's like they want me to be something I'm not, and that's why I don't really find the time to actually date that guy, because I cannot find that guy.
Fetish. A fetish pretty much is like what gets you going, you know, something that automatically just gets you excited that you want to indulge in. I love fetishes.
Have you ever been fetishized for the color of your skin?
Not directly. Like on some apps, you will get responses or replies from people that will say, "Yeah, I want that black cock," and you know that they're, you know, a Caucasian male or somebody of a different demographic or background. But like when it comes like, "Oh, I want to date you because you're black," no, I don't think nobody is that blatantly disrespectful.
And you've never, and how does it, like, you know, a fetish make you feel, like if you were fetishized for, you know, the color of your, you know, skin?
If I was, that's kind of hard because I love the word fetish, but when it comes to like being, you said fetishized, is that a word?
Or yeah, fetish.
Okay, well, if I was targeted as far as, you know, somebody had a fetish for a black guy, I would feel disrespected. You know, it would rub me the wrong way. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's just like my response is how far it would go.
I really hate, it's kind of a pet peeve of mine that happens with the apps. If no matter who I'm talking to, if it comes up, it's an instant block for me. But when people refer to like me or my body and use the term like PVC, I really, really hate it. Because it just feels like it's really dehumanizing and really objectifying. And granted, I do realize that that's kind of the point of something like Grindr specifically, where people see bodies as transactions rather than people behind them. But I still feel like that term is something that is only applied to black males, and there isn't necessarily an equivalent thing for other people. And so I think it's just a really, really harmful and damaging stereotype. And I think that if someone were to feel comfortable enough to say that to me, like, it says something about how they think about me, and I don't want to deal with them.
What clubs do you tend to favor and why?
Ooh, clubs. So I love to party. Clubs, I tend to favor, actually, any windows is better than the Woolworth to me. They are both predominantly urban clubs, if you should say. And any windows is more tailored to the women. And I find that more comfortable for myself because I don't get hit on. And if I do, it's only really compliments. And I feel more comfortable and safe there. The Woodward, I love the Woodward.
When it comes to clubs that I favor, when it comes to like as far as the gay scene,
Yes.
I would say I like to go to the Woodward, but I'm over the Woodward. We really don't have that many options here. So I really don't do the gay scene that much. It's more so like I link up with my friends and that's where we go. And the majority of my friends are black, so that's where we end up. But I have a whole other thing that I'm into.
Well, I've been going to probably the Woodward more than anything. You know, because I feel like they the club for the black people. I'm not gonna hold you up. They play more music that we're into, not just rap and what other people think black people are into. Like, they play all the stuff, like, all our hustle music and get lit. But then also love live, because that's my spot. I see all my performances.
Oh my gosh, I love the Woodward, okay? Because I'm a ghetto ass bitch. Like, I love to dance, shake my ass, get drunk, and be in good community. Like, every time I go to the Woodward, I'm around my girls, and we just having a good ass time. That you can be real. Gigi's is a club that's very close to where I live at, but that club is that club is geared toward white individuals. That is not a club that really is for black girls. And when I say black girls, y'all know what I mean. It's not geared for us. And so going there, it's like you either have to be this way or you have to be looked at this way. Bitch, I'm gonna go to the Woodward.
And the Woodward is What kind of club for
The
that?
Woodward is a black gay, excuse me, cut that. Black gay club on the west side of Detroit. People gonna say it's the east side, but it's boom.
And earlier we talked about Jack, and it's, I don't know, like it's been passed around as you know, the black grinder or the black scrub. What does that mean to you, and like why do you think it has gotten that definition?
Well, before I was trans, I as a gay male looked for apps that I could meet other people that were like me. And Jack happened to be like the main one that came up when I went to search for apps. And it had like the most top ratings, the most downloads and things like that. So I downloaded and checked it out, and I found to see that there's most of the profiles are of black males. The other apps that I did check out on other times were like white or other races, but this was the only one that, since I found it the first time, like years ago, it has always been the one that has the most black.
And why do you think this app, carried this tone, even though it's catered to all communities? But why do you think it's adopted, this
I
name?
think,
like you were speaking for a friend.
I think being black and part of the LGBTQ community, I believe that specifically for black people, they don't really know much about dating or meeting other people that are like them. And I feel like Jack is like the only place that a lot of people have found to meet people like themselves. And
Sort of like a bubble in a way, right?
right, it is.
Do you feel you are overlooked on dating apps because of the color of your skin?
Sometimes I feel that I am, but because of my personality and my outer exterior, I think it's more so about the way I display myself. That's why I feel like I get discriminated against the most. Because I feel like if I had a low cut and I had a pair of baggy jeans on with a tank top, I'll get all the hits in the world. But being that I am more educated and confined in myself, I'm not displaying myself to be a whore. I don't get as much attention I need to. And then, like I said before, more men think if I'm a transsexual woman, then they will want me versus me just being a feminine man or a male.
With Tinder, it's hard to tell because when you're overlooked, you don't know that you're overlooked. But with Grindr, I definitely feel that was the case. I don't know. I always tell people that, I don't get any messages hardly. Like every now and then I'll get one, or it'll be like a bot or like a sugar daddy scam or things like that. And it's just like local people looking to like hang out is never a thing for me really. And that's kind of surprising to some people. Versus the experience that I've seen other friends of mine have who are white. Our experiences using that platform are completely different.
I would say yes and no.
Can you please explain?
I say yes because I think it goes to like the stereotypes that people have of a gay black male. And then I'll say no because that's what I mean. You have to present yourself. So it's almost like going to like an interview. You have to sell yourself. So you would never know like how someone else portrays you unless you like ask them or like have a conversation with them.
So what are the stereotypes of a gay black man?
A gay black man.
Educate us.
I guess you could say, loud, ghetto, lives in the hood and stuff like that.
And how does that make you feel?
How does that make me feel? That's why I'm like, present yourself a certain type of way.
But why?
Carry yourself better.
But why do you have to carry yourself better, present yourself better? If someone likes you, they should like you for you, right?
Exactly.
So you will want somebody to want you for your authentic self, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And I understand like there is a time and place, but I mean I feel like you should be able to. You shouldn't have to,
Oh yeah, hold back for who
Yeah.
you are. Yeah, no, be who you are, but
You shouldn't have to stuff yourself in a bubble.
yeah,
if
you shouldn't have
people-
to. Yeah, you should not have to be in a bubble to get what you want. You should be yourself, absolutely. But overlooked in the dating scene, I think people just have their what's the word I'm trying to think of?
opinion or view.
Yeah, opinions or views about different people, because first impressions are lasting impressions. So
Actually, not not so much the color of my skin. I feel like, to be honest, I get more grief than anything for being bi-gender, because they'll see me one day like this, and then they'll see me another day, the whole 9 lashes and lips and all, and people don't know how to take me. It's like, well, take me how you see me.
And can you elaborate on what bi-gender means? Because I mean, just some people just might not know.
Yeah. So, funny thing. So I came out as bi-gender less than a year ago, and I honestly didn't know what it meant because I just knew I felt a certain way, and I didn't know how to word it, And one of my friends was like, "Hey, maybe this might be it." And it was like, "Go check out, the definition and stuff." So I looked it up, and it basically means it's a person that has more than one gender identity in one body. Like, some people has 2 personas, or some people, they see themselves as two genders at the same.
Yes, I do believe it's the color of my skin, but I also believe because it's the whole no fat, no femmes. And it's sad because that goes deeper. Like, no fat, no femmes goes to a specific place based upon how you look in regards to European standards of beauty. And so, like, if you're, like, extremely big and you're darker skinned, people are going to instantly look over you. You're not going to be the hot tea. Or if you are, it's because it's for that moment. I'm just horny, ain't nothing else popping. Here you are. Like, the further away from that spectrum you are, the more attention you get. And so me, I kind of fall to that further side, in some aspects. And so people kind of do overlook me. And then when they meet me, they're like, "Oh, you cool," but it's still not in that sense of like, "Oh, I want to see what this could be."
What is your take or your opinion on masculinity and femininity in the Black community?
That is a big deal in the Black community when it comes to like being masculine, femme, or in between. Me personally, I love to just like stick my foot in its mouth. That's why my Instagram name is Je ne sais quoi Steez, because I feel like I have an attraction where you don't understand it, you don't know where it comes from, but you love it. I'm attracted to all kind of guys, of course. I have my type, but when it comes to like as far as how feminine or masculine you are, that's not a factor for me. It's more so like how you carry yourself and your confidence level when you're doing it.
Well, that is a big can of worms that we're opening, but let's dive on in. So with the whole masculine feminine thing, I think that in the Black community too, that's really a huge thing. So I feel like just having like an intersectional identity, I would say, like, first there's Black, right? And so it's like white and Black, you're already marginalized for being Black. Second, then you're gay, right? So then you're marginalized for being gay in that space. And then even so recently I've like joined this kind of group on Facebook of, it's all queer gamers of color. They're mostly Black men. But even on that group, when there's so many people that are alike, there's still constant infighting of masculine versus feminine, and then you still have these like masculine guys who are projecting this gross misogyny on the more feminine guys, and it's really just disappointing because you finally think, okay, here's like a group of people who are just like me and we can all come together and share our experiences, but even with that, it's still a lot of misogyny towards more feminine people, and that really upsets me. Mainly because it affects me, but it does happen. It happens a lot, and that's not to say that it doesn't happen in white spaces. I think it definitely happens in white spaces too, but just saying that we are not immune. It happens in our community as well.
Is it easier for masculine men in the gay scene, or is it easier for feminine guys in the gay scene? Like, does it like like as far as Ann Arbor, like do you feel like Ann Arbor, caters towards more of the masculine or cater towards more of the feminine guy?
Well, I think Ann Arbor is equal. They characterize it to both parties.
So your friends would agree with you if you like one of your like feminine friends, they would agree with you saying like they can pick up a guy easily in Ann Arbor
Yeah.
versus the masculine.
Yeah, I think so.
So it's equal.
I think it is. I don't. That's what I mean. Like
It depends on the person.
Yeah, it depends on the person, and yeah, it depends on how you are. Like I think if you have the gumption to talk to anyone, or you can get anybody.
So you're single currently, right?
I'm currently single.
And is this via choice or is this via why?
This is via choice.
So if you wanted someone right now, like in with the dating scene in Ann Arbor, you can easily pick up, pull up.
I can pick up and pull up.
Okay.
And shut it down.
Yeah. So, do you feel gender expression plays a role in dating in Metro Detroit? And for example, is there a disadvantage of being more feminine or more masculine? Like especially while being black, we remember answer this question like in the mindset of a black man. And do you think it's equivalent via race? So I mean, I guess I can break the question up. So, did you understand the question?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So I feel like there's definitely it makes a difference if you're masculine or feminine, because for whatever reason, feminine guys and femininity in the gay scene, especially in the Metro Detroit area, seems to be like associated with negative. Like if you're feminine, you're too much. I don't want to be seen with you. That type of thing, or it's extra just to live your life type thing. But it's almost like the same with like top and bottom type thing. Like everybody says they're a top type thing because they feel like that everybody wants to be a masculine top. Everybody wants to be the manly man, but still mess with other dudes. I'm like, it's so much easier if you just be who you are. The sex is better when you be who you are. I'm trying to tell you, you gotta hold stuff back. That ain't working.
And do you think it's equivalent via race, like the gender expressions? Do you think, yeah?
I think so. Because I feel like there's a divide, and I hate it. Just like with race, like people be like, they only want masculine, or if they want feminine, they only want feminine bottoms. You can't be a feminine top. That's a problem. There's that big divide.
Do you feel gender expression plays a role in dating in Detroit? For example, is there a disadvantage of, you spoke on this earlier, a disadvantage of being like more feminine versus masculine? Mm-hmm. And do you think it's equivalent via race? So I can break that question down.
No. That question all can be answered just with my introduction. Again, I'm Dior. My pronouns are she, he, they. Preferably she, they. Very rarely do I use he, him pronouns. When niggas hear that, they often think feminine. You know what I'm saying? They often think like, oh, you're so feminine. And don't let you have a fluffy body, because the fluffier your body, the more feminine they automatically assume you are. You know what I'm saying? And that's why oftentimes fat and femme are grouped together. And it's like, yeah, like, break that question down.
Yeah. So you basically, do you feel that there's a disadvantage of being more feminine versus masculine in Detroit?
Let me get in there right there. Yeah, I do believe it's a disadvantage because, again, I'm a bomb-ass person. Anybody who meets me, they automatically say, oh, you are so dope, you this, you that, like, you cool as hell. If I ever had the privilege to meet a person who actually was interested enough in me to learn those things, I probably would have one of the greatest relationships. You know what I'm saying? It may not be picture perfect in the sense of how it looks, but it's going to be picture perfect in the sense of what it is, because it's going to be real. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, look, I did the relationships where looks matter. You know what I'm saying? And I do believe that's why one of the situations that I could have had that probably was meant for me did not happen, because I was obsessed with how it looked. I went through that. And I learned very early, I'm talking before I graduated from high school, before I was even a junior, I learned very early that did not matter. and that these niggas will use you how they can. And when you find somebody that's genuinely interested in you, he's not gonna be that down low nigga you chasing on apps. He's not gonna be that nigga at the store who always smiling in your face and trying to sell you weed and even throw you a little bit of extra because he likes to queer bait you. It's not gonna be the nigga at the store behind the glass smiling in your face, calling you baby and all this shit. It's gonna be that boy that's commenting on your pictures. It's gonna be that nigga that's asking you how you doing that you keep ignoring. Cause he ain't that. But you don't know because you won't give him a chance. And I know for a fact I do it. And that's why I'm able to sit here and tell you it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it.
And do you think this is equivalent via race?
It is. It is because a lot of times with race, class comes into it. And in my city, that's a major thing. Detroit is one of the blackest cities, if not the blackest, but it's also one of the poorest. So that lets you know the background most of us is coming from, regardless of who makes it out. That lets you know the background we coming from. And so oftentimes when we meet somebody from a different race, these are people that are coming from middle class to upper class families. You know, so you automatically feel less than in the sense of what you come from, your struggle, and where they were. You feel less than in that. So you don't often look outside. You look within. You look for people that you can relate to. But then it gets into the masculinity, femininity, fat, slim, military, thick, jock, muscular, black, white, light skin, mixed, biracial. I'm high yellow. I'm pretty because I'm light skinned. Not I'm not cute because I'm dark skinned. Like, it don't give you that. And it's a disadvantage. It's a disadvantage.
What is your opinion on open relationships?
I don't appreciate them just because I want my man to myself. But if it's to a point to where we can share that person, yes, I'm down for it. But I wouldn't consider it open. I could still consider it closed just because we're bringing them into our home and our bedroom. Well, not necessarily that. I'd rather take you to a hotel room just because I don't want you to know where I stay. And I'd rather appreciate finding the person together with my mate versus finding them alone by myself, or him finding it by himself, just because it's more attraction with them than it will be together. So open relationships is a no for me unless we're bringing that person home together.
If it works for you, you know, hey, that's great. I do know people that's in open relationships. I don't think I would go straight into an open relationship because sometimes things don't work and you don't want to just let go of that person. So then in that case, you will just like, hey, that'll be something that you guys can try out, and if it works, that's great. But I respect it and I understand it, and yeah.
I think that they work if the people interested are both committed to making them work. I don't think I've ever had one successfully anyway, but I don't see any type of stigma towards them. I don't think that we should all have to follow the heteronormative model. I think that is important to work for us within our own relationship.
My opinion on open relationships is, if that's what you all are into, cool, but you gotta have a good relationship with each other, because letting that third party in or letting somebody else into the relationship is not going to work if you're jealous-hearted or anything like that. I don't do this.
Okay, so that's something that I often ask myself because I know so many people who have done open relationships. And I've seen some that have actually been very beneficial, and I've seen some that has been so tacky, you know, and it's so heartbreaking because you'd be like, oh my gosh, that was such the perfect situation. But niggas be the ones fucking up because now this nigga want to try to use this open situation as a way to get into some other shit. And I'm gonna tell you what I mean when I say niggas, because I know y'all looking at me like, oh bitch, you got a beard. Like, let me tell you what I mean when I say niggas. We know what niggas is. This is usually the niggas out here that's just trying to get their dicks wet. They're not really vested in us girls that's out here trying to really build and like get into some shit. So when you do meet a nigga that's like, yeah, I'm down for an open relationship, that's really him just saying a bitch want to go out here and step out and do what he want to do. You know, we gonna always be conscious, like, okay, I can't go out here and mess with X, Y, and Z. This nigga gonna touch Z, Y, X all the way down to A, baby, and around again. And by the time you find out about it, he gonna make it seem like it's your fault. So that's the answer to that.
If a financial class, economic status plays a role in like the dating in your area, like specifically for a black man, say, just like if you had to just answer that question to the best of your ability, like how would you answer it?
Yeah, like I think it does help because if you trade, you have a lot of money. A lot of people want to hang out with you and stuff like that, especially in the gay world. So.
Definitely. I feel like Black people, especially in where I, grew up and where I stay, Inkster area and stuff like that, I feel like we are very much into you have to have a certain status type thing to be noticed. If you don't have a nice car, you don't have a nice home, if you don't have some type of job, because people are always with the, what are you bringing to the table, so I feel like, and it was always hard for me growing up because I grew up kind of on the poor side, but I mean, I've always been the type to make do with what I have, and I feel like, people see that and see that I don't look like, we fine.
I am what you would consider amongst a more privileged group right now because the job that I have pays me handsomely. But it's very rare that in this city you find people that's on that same status. And so it plays a major part because I'm not where I could be. And so like a lot of niggas overlook that because as of right now, I don't have a car and I don't live alone. And that's the main two things that people in this city assert to like independence. It's like, do you have a house? Do you have a car? And it's not like we're like, what is your background? Like what got you to where you are? Which that's gonna carry you further. But no, the guys here, there, it's all about how much you look like you're worth. And that's just not me. I mean, I'm glamorous. I'm definitely a top bitch. I get it together. However, like, I'm definitely your jogging jeans and boot t-shirt type bitch. Like, that's not what it is anymore. It's all about labels and how you look. I'm telling you, everything is equated to how it appears. In this day and age, it's all about how will it look. The bitches that's out here with real ass relationships, you do not see them like that because they're focused on each other. And bitch, sadly, if you single and you doing what I'm doing on Jack's and at the Woodward, you're not gonna find somebody you gonna click with. But it's like, hell, where can you go? Like, where the fuck can you go? It ain't nowhere out here for me really to just show up unless I'm at a straight club and then the only other gay bitch in here trying to get the other nigga attention like I am. So we not even paying attention to each other. We trying to get the niggas attention. The niggas giving us attention, but they not really giving us attention till they meet us in a bathroom or something. Or ask us, do we smoke weed or want to buy weed or something? You know what I mean? So you know where you fall at. You know why you fall there. If you don't have it, bitch, if you're not around here riding in no Rolls Royce or pulling up to a house, you know what I'm saying? Bitches is not looking at you because to them, you're not worth it. Like, you're not worth the time of day. Fuck having a bomb-ass personality and being able to, like, talk to you about some real dope-ass shit. Understand why you lick your lip the way you do because something happened when you was a kid that probably was positive. Or why you like to wear the color orange on a certain day. Like, all that shit means something. But nobody's really out here trying to build for that. And that's what I'm looking for. And I'm not settling for nothing other than that. I went through my DL phase.
Do you feel age has a disadvantage or advantage in your location?
No, because I feel like at the end of the day, it just depends on what the person is into and what the person is. When I mean the person is into, the person that's actually reaching out to you, or you're reaching out to, because it's just like you pick that person, and if they like you, they like you. If they're into older guys, they're into older guys. Because at first, I really didn't care. But, now I've had so many experiences and changes in my life that I've actually been through. I would shy away from younger guys now. When at first I was like, hey, let's try it. But now I look for maturity. Not saying that there's not mature young guys, but there's a certain age where I don't want to go on it.
I think an advantage right now, 25 is the prime. I'm at my prime, but
So like being like a person of color, a black man of color, you feel like with your age it still helps, helps with your dating.
I think so. I think I'm in the sweet spot.
It's weird because I'm 27, I'll be 28. And I'm kind of like in the middle. Like I'm on that cusp where it's like, okay, 30 and older is what's really attractive to me. But in like socioeconomic standards, I'm not to the age graphic that I'm like attracted to. I'm not on their level yet. These are niggas that own houses and shit, and I'm still out here just a struggling bitch. But and then the people that are more around my age range, they not looking for nothing serious to me. Like to me, they're looking for the next thing hot and smoking. You know, I'm a very private person, and I feel like they're all about out there. Like every guy that's ever approached me has been someone who's always interested in physical appearance. Like, oh, I love the way you look. I love the way you dress. It's very rare that it's, oh, what do you feel about this? This is what's going on right now. Like, what's going on with you? Like, how you feeling? How you processing things? They're never like that, and that's how I usually proceed with them.
You feel people in Ann Arbor are culturally or open culturally when dating?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so because you know a lot of students come here from every walks of life and everything from different backgrounds, and I feel like especially in college, that's when you're trying to find yourself. So, yeah.
Do you feel the people in like Metro Detroit are open culturally when dating?
I don't actually. I feel like the black people date black people, white people date white people, you know, and everything else. Actually, I've even been on the apps and it's like specific. It's like Arabic people only into Arabic people type thing, and and it's just it sucks because I feel like you close off so many possibilities of people that could be that one for you, and but I learn eventually.
Do you feel people in Detroit are open culturally when dating?
Yeah, I think so. I think everybody. So the thing is, Detroit is also small, and the gay community is even smaller. So at this stage, a lot of us have either dated, have talked to the person that this person is dating. It's very small. It's like a very small web, and so. Hell, you start looking elsewhere. You start outsourcing, and that's when you do get into your different apps, Grindr, Growler, because Jack ain't popping no more. This nigga popping on everybody's profile. So, you go out, you source, and I think that's where the cultural difference come in at, because now, here you go, you walking up the street, and this motherfucking, Indian nigga like, hell, yo, what up? And I'm like, huh? What is tea? Feeling cute. So, hell, now this nigga all up in your face, showing you shit, but then you start to notice shit, and that don't last. But nonetheless, bitch, we be open.
What's your opinion on DL, aka Download Undercover Men in Metro Detroit?
Everywhere you look, if you open up the app, it's nothing but blank profiles. But I feel like it's very okay, so I'm not the type to be like, you need to come out because I don't know your situation. It could be dangerous, let's be real. But I feel like it's because of the place that we're already in, not saying that Detroit, metro area, all this is bad, but but I feel like, it's frightening sometimes. You don't know what people look like, and I'm like, I make it a rule, and I was like, I don't even want to meet you. I can't if I don't see your face, because I need to know who I'm looking at. I need to be able to talk to somebody. And to be honest, I'm not gonna date you if you're DL. Nothing against you, but I'm like, it's not gonna benefit me in any way. It's not gonna be a healthy relationship because I want to go out, do dates. So like, I'm nobody's secret. That's not what we're gonna be.
Opinion. Gosh. So, bitch, body code, okay? I am a cold piece, okay? This is a rougher day for your girl, but I am a cold piece. Popping in places that some of these girls is getting filled to pop in, period. But at the same time, I assumingly attract a certain type of individual. And this is oftentimes DL men. Without giving too much of my tea, your girl been in these streets for a long time. I come from a good ass home. I come from a good ass family. We weren't rich, but we were good. My mom and dad took care of me, take care of me to this day. My grandmother, my aunts, my people, my village. But I did my shit. I was out here like most of us were. 12, 13 years old on Black Planet. You know what I'm saying? Out here. That's who I was. I started fucking around with DL niggas when I was like 12, 13. These niggas telling me, like, if you say something to me in the street, I'll kill you. I'll beat your ass. These were the niggas I was dealing with. You know what I'm saying? That was my reality. I learned very quickly how I should proceed. I knew when it's DL, it's DL. No matter what, you let that shit be led by that nigga. That's violent. that's toxic. To this day, one of the biggest battles I have with dating is oftentimes not feeling good enough because I allowed DL men to cultivate who I was and how I wanted to be seen. You know? And I'm not getting emotional about it, but it's emotional because that's real as fuck. Like, we went through that shit. Like, we only knew that our bodies is what gave us love because that's what was the intake in. You know what I'm saying? And when you land here with this man, and this nigga just done banged you out, don't even give a fuck about you, but he say, yeah, so what you doing for the rest of the night? Nigga, you feel good. You feel like, damn, you care? You know what I'm saying? And you let that man come back. You know what I'm saying? You let him come back. And then that conversation dwindles more and more, and eventually it's just, yeah, I'm pulling up. Can you come out? You know what I'm saying? And we look at that as normal, so we look for the next quick thing. And sometimes we get scared to actually be vulnerable because that's what my fear is being vulnerable because I don't want to be hurt. I don't want to be let down because I know what I'm willing to give. That's why my friendships and my relationships I have, like within my families and outside, they are so important because I give it all. I give that love and support, and that's what I want. Where's it at though?
Wrapping things up, what is like a good story that you've like, you know, obtained from like the apps or like being on dating apps, whether it was Jack or Grindr, like what's like a good story that, you know, you encountered?
A good story that I encountered on a dating app, just finding real love. Like, it is a possibility, you know, because regardless, of course, relationships don't work all the time, but I will say the 3 relationships that I've had on there, yes, it was 3. I actually really love those guys, and some I still love to this day, and we have a respect for each other, and hey, it's a possibility.
Well, first I'll start by addressing people who are going through similar struggles as myself. Dating is hard, but once you find somebody, it will be worth it. Don't change yourself to kind of fit stereotypes, or change yourself to fit expectations, or change yourself to prove yourself to people. If they don't see you as worthy or worth it or beautiful, then they're not for you and don't have your best interest in mind. So don't drive yourself crazy trying to do the most for people who are not going to do the least for you.
What message would you like to give to fellow Black men concerning dating and not so culturally open areas?
Be honest. Don't try to be what other people want you to be. Because things are so much easier when you're honest, and you'll find people that genuinely want you for you.
Be real with yourself, you know? And I know that it's hard to like get into the conversations around coming out, but don't use somebody. If it's somebody you're attracted to, give them who you want them, like give them yourself. Open yourself up. Because that's the issue. People are not open. People are not open. People want love and they want it hard. Everybody does. Get rid of the labels. Get rid of the standards. Look at people for who they are, like bare bone flesh human beings who have emotions and feelings and hearts. And I promise you, the person you're looking for probably has been in front of you the entire time. And I know that's so fucking cliche, but just think about it. It's not the person you talk to all the time, but they've been there the entire time. Open yourself up and stop trying to make it one way. Let's get rid of the binaries. Let's get rid of the social norms, and let's just be who the fuck we are.
So dating in Michigan, do you think it's easy for a person of color versus, you know, someone of another race? And we can talk as specific as just like dating in Ann Arbor, dating in like Hamtramck, dating in Michigan. Do you think it's like easier with like, you know, the apps, the clubs that we have offered, etc.? And I want you just to be raw and like, you know, as honest as possible. Like from like your friends and like what they choose to like and whatever. Do you feel like, you know?
I would say, speaking back to you mentioned bubbles, I would say that the created bubbles are the only ways that I would say for people of color, my own experience, that we have to like meet people and like coexist as far as dating or just meeting people in that type of situation. I feel like other races have a little more awareness. I don't feel like they're so much in a bubble, you know, the African Americans, a lot of people haven't been to college, so they don't have that type of environment to go. They haven't really been in healthy upbringings with their parents, mother and father, and dating and whatever. Like, I just feel like in the Black community we're led to like little bubbles because we find it out by someone else. Like, someone else tell you like, hey, I use this app, I meet guys all the time, or even in the clubs in here in Michigan, the ones that are like more so driven for Black people, it's maybe like 2. You know what I'm saying? Like, all the other ones are like for the white community or other races that I've seen. I've seen Indian, I've seen Hispanic, I've seen all other races and many of the other clubs, but it just seemed like when it comes to the Black community, it seemed like we're limited in where we could meet people, where we can go and hang out, and other people are like us. I feel like Michigan is a poor place to meet people.
And you're always comfortable in these places. Like, if you were to walk in a room with Pronto, like, you wouldn't need like 12 drinks to, feel a part of this place. Would you feel like accepted walking into like these, like, how do you feel like in these places?
Not in my own communities. In my own communities, I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel free. I feel like there's a lot of insecurities and a lot of people trying to find themselves, and I feel like people do need to drink a lot to try to blend in or just fit in or be comfortable. Other places that I've been, like I said, like Pronto or Necto or any other place outside of the few places where Black people can go hang out, I don't feel I need to do all that. I don't have to have a drink. There's always people who was there who just ready to have a good time, and I don't think their mind is so in a space of being in a bubble. They have a better outlook on things.
So more guys at Pronto will come up and talk to you versus the Woolward.
Yes, I would say it'd be more guys at Pronto that will talk. I would say they're more open-minded. I would say the guys maybe at the Woolward or somewhere in the Black community, they're more closed-minded because of the bubble spaces, that they're in. Like, they're more superficial. I feel like a place like Pronto or Necto, I feel like a person would be more optimistic, more open to meet new people, not so withdrawn and like closed-minded.
Well, before we close this, do you have anything else like you would like to say about being Black in the dating community?
I would like to say that I don't know, you really just have to, despite the apps trying to help, I don't know, in whatever way that you may feel like they can help, I don't feel like the dating apps are a good place to date. I don't feel like clubs are places to date. I feel like those are places to just have a good time. I feel like you have to kind of create your own way of dating to get to know people, other than just being in a bubble up on an app or going to the club. Because me, after a couple years, I went to see, like, I feel like I'm not gonna find anybody, but you realize that you've only been looking in 2 places.